Oh, hey, it's me, Kelly. Coming back at you. I know it's been a while. Um, been kind of struggling lately mentally, and just kind of realized that one thing I said is that I was going to be open, I was going to be raw, and really, as part of that was being open and being open with this. So I realized I needed to um, I needed to kind of um, open myself up to this because this is where I'm at right now, and this is this is me. This is part of what I deal with. It's not all fun times. Yeah, it kind of sucks because there's a lot of times like this. And it's not just don't get me wrong. This is because I'm trans. This is depression. Um, this just sucks. This is definitely depression. It's just this never ending feeling of doom, just negative. Everything is just negative. And that on top of everything else, just kind of it weighs on you, and when it hits hard, it hits really hard. Just going through one of those times where it's just really, really hard right now. I feel, and it's combined. I have to admit there is, there's a cofactor with it, and that's the loneliness. I'm feeling extremely vulnerable, being, just being alone, feeling like I'm always going to be alone, and that's adding to it. It's just it's I don't know. It's just kind of depressing to think that. So it's just something that I personally deal with. Not just being transgender, but also depression. Um, it's been suggested that I deal with Asperger's as well, which would explain a lot from my childhood. Um, so there's a lot of factors involved with me, and makes sense. So there's a lot to deal with there, and it would make sense that different times of the year, different situations would kind of play factors in my emotional health, and so I can understand why it's different times of the year I may feel different ways. Um, I don't know. You know, I just know that right now I'm dealing with a rough period of my life, and very introspective. Um, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. Um, feel very alone. And that loneliness feels insurmountable. That's, I think, the thing that I really feel right now is that, like, you know, I'm doomed to that forever. Maybe so. Who knows? If that's what it is, so be it. And I'll make do. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, things that, have been going pretty well. Um, I'm on my 2 week cycle for work right now. I work 2 weeks. I'm off for three. I work for two, off for three. So I'm in the middle of my cycle right now. So I just worked last week. I'm working this week. Um, it's fun. I do enjoy working. Um, so far, my students have been very supportive, and I appreciate that. Um, and I appreciate my students because they, for the most part, tend to want to be there, and that gives me some purpose in my life because otherwise, I really don't have any. Um, yeah, so things are going really well for me. Um, I think when I last left off, I had talked about my time in the service, and yeah, since then, let's see. So I retired in 2009. After retirement, I tried to truly retire, and it just, it didn't work. At the time I was married, my ex was, a huge advocate of Amway. I tried to support her. I tried to be. And at the time they had this, like, kind of like an incentive package where you could do, like, vacations of that. And I thought, I could do that. I could go out and sell this. So I tried to set up accounts with corporations to, do incentives for employees. Where if, employees reach certain, goals, then they could have these, like, weekend getaways or a week getaway, at the company expense. And I actually set up a few accounts. One of the accounts I set up was a Sacramento Kings, which I thought was pretty cool. Here I had set up this account with, actually one of our competitors. Because at the time, Amway Corporation was one of the sponsors of Orlando Magic. And here I had set up an account with the Sacramento Kings, their competitor. But, so I was trying to support my wife, too. I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I just, trying to be supportive and trying to do that, it just, yeah, I don't know, it just didn't work. And from there, I went as a forklift operator in a canning company. And it was funny, I actually felt like I had more purpose there. But yet I still wasn't satisfied. From there, I went to a company that did printing, and I wasn't comfortable there either. And I kind of fumbled around after the military. I wasn't sure where to go. And I think the military kind of ruined me because even from the very beginning, I was in a position of authority. I didn't have the rank, but I had the authority. And I think that kind of ruined me because, it kind of gave me this kind of air of I was in charge. And I had that all throughout my career. So 22 years of kind of, I'm in charge mentality, and being in the government kind of, gave me a little bit of an attitude. So coming out of the military, I kind of carried that attitude with me that didn't work in the civilian world. Yeah, so I didn't really fit in. And I guess the only job that really did fit in was for a government entity, was the Census Bureau. Um, yeah, I don't know. And on top of it all, being transgender, it's this whole other side of me that I have to reconcile with, and that I have to reconcile everything in my life with. So it just gets all so convoluted. It just, man, it made life so difficult. It made everything so difficult to reconcile with. And that's the one good thing about transitioning, was that now it's like I don't have to reconcile those two different versions of me. There's one version of me, and that's all I have to reconcile everything with. But yet on the other side, there's still a part of me that I'm still reconciling with. Because there's still a part of me that exists over there. I mean, my military records are all over there. And there's still a part of me that pulls me over to there. There's still a part of me that's scared to be Kelly. To fully be Kelly. To fully let go of my past. And I think it's because I'm afraid that I'm going to fail. Even though for a little over 2 years now, I've succeeded. And that's that self-doubt. I mean, I've never had faith in myself. But I think there's just so much self-doubt. Well, like I said, you're going to get Kelly raw, and this is about as raw as I can get. I think I'm going to cut this short. It's really got me thinking. Yeah, you know, this is me. This is just me. This is purely me. You know, again, I'm not a professional. I, I can't emphasize enough. If you need help, get professional help. I'm just here to. I don't know what I'm here for. Just to be open, to be honest, to be real. Um, if my story in any way touches you, get help. Get the help you need because, man, it helps me. I probably need more help than I'm getting, but I'm getting some help and it helped. I needed it. Um, Reach out, talk to people, get some friends. Even if it's not professional help, talk to someone. It's important. You know, Man, I've got some good friends out there that I could reach out to and say, hey, I'm struggling today. I'm hurting, man. Talk with me, listen to me, and they'll listen. And, they don't say anything back. They just shut up and listen. And that's what sometimes I need. And sometimes that's what they need, and I try to do the same thing. So reach out, get the help you need. All right, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, I spent 57 years of my life just bottled up, not seeking help, not talking, and it was 57 years of misery, 57 years of just wanting to blow my freaking brains out. And it's not cool, it's not fun, and it's not worth it. There's people out there that are willing to listen, willing to help. I'm one of them. Reach out to me. Send me a message. I'll listen. I'm more than willing to, spend my time listening to what you have to say because it's worth it. But get the help, all right? Get the help you need. I care. I love you guys. It sounds trite, but I do. It's taken me a long time to realize that it's not just about me. It's so much more than just me. It's about others. It's about everyone. If I don't give a crap about anybody else, then who cares about me? And it's my willingness and my effort in caring about others that pushes others and drives others to care about me. And it's the right thing to do. Again, spirituality. I'm a spiritual being, and I truly believe that what comes around goes around, and karma. We always hear that saying, man, she's a bitch, but she's also a beautiful lady, man. And if your karma is good, man, she is such a beautiful lady. So it's upon you. What do you want from her? If you want good, then do good, man, because she can be such a beautiful lady. She can be mean, but, that's up to you, dude. So, again, just be good to yourself, be good to others. If you need help, reach out. And I do care. All right. So, you guys take care, and I will be back soon. I promise I won't be as gone as long as I haven't. Take care, guys.